Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video we are going to be reviewing a brand new palette that is on the market right now, and it is of course by Too Faced, and this is their new Then and Now palette that just came out. And I purchased mine on the Sephora app. They had a pre-release a couple days ago where you could order it, and of course with that amazing flash shipping is here within 2 days. So I have been playing with this palette all day yesterday and today to give you guys a few of my first impressions and thoughts on the palette. This is the palette. It is absolutely huge. Compared to my face, it's humongous. This reminds me a lot of the Kat Von D Metal Matte. It's the same like length and feel as the Metal Matte palette, but this one has all pink glitter around it, which I love. So fun and girly. And then the Too Faced logo, I don't know, this might be like their old text that they used to use when they had their first logo. It's very like futuristic looking. It kind of reminds me of like something I've seen. As you can see, we have their Too Faced circa 1998 shades. So this is their 20th birthday. So here is all of the 1998 shades that are supposed to be similar to their old ones, but maybe a little bit revamped formula-wise. And then we have their 2018 versions down here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and read a little bit about the palette so you guys can get a little idea of what this is supposed to be. So the description on the Too Faced website reads, our original 10 eyeshadow shades in a modern formula, of course, and 10 completely new shades, inspired by the originals, reimagined with the 2018 twist. So we have 20 shades total, pearl, matte, and glitter shades. It says a modern mix of gorgeous browns, purples, blues, and greens. Creamy, buttery texture for easy blendability. It's supposed to be one swipe payoff for highly pigmented color, and it's supposed to smell like birthday cake since it's their birthday palette, which I was pretty intrigued by that, not gonna lie. As far as the scent goes, it's super light. I don't really think it smells like birthday cake, to be honest. It's like a really super light vanilla scent. But it's not very strong smelling at all, so if that's something that bothers you, this might be okay for you because it is not as strong as some of their other scented stuff. I did also want to mention this palette does retail for $59, so it's a pretty pricey palette, but I'm guessing it's because you get such a big palette. Like, this thing is huge. It's kind of like a collector's item, I would think. So a little bit about the shades from what I can see. The top row is pretty much all shimmers, the original 10, which is pretty normal. I feel like in the 90s, people wore a lot of shimmer and glittery eyeshadows, and they didn't really do a whole lot of extravagant looks like we do now, just because makeup's gotten like so huge after the last like few years. But yeah, these are all pretty much shimmers on the top, like a pearl finish to them. And Too Faced always, I feel like, does a lot of those purples, greens, golds. Some of these shades look a little bit familiar from other palettes, which I'll go ahead and do some swatching next to some similar shades that I have from other Too Faced palettes if you guys are interested in that, just to see how similar they are. But I feel like Too Faced always does something with hot pinks, bright purples, and there's always like some greens. But this one I just thought looked really fun. I love the look of these like pastel-y pinks, and then this like ice blue. I thought those looked pretty fun. And then on the bottom you have like these metallic-y kind of glittery foiled shadows and a few more mattes thrown in the bottom as well to make it a little more modern. If you guys are wondering how similar the 1998 shades are to their like revamped version, they're actually all pretty different. There's none that are really similar at all. I just feel like they either get darker or some of them go from like a pearl finish to a matte finish, so they're pretty different than the other ones. So you have 20 like totally awesome new different shades. So I'm going to go ahead and insert my swatch clips. I did a swatch of the first row and then a swatch of the second row for you guys. Alright, so as you can see, the shades swatch really well, especially like those foiled shadows. They always look so good with a finger swatch, and I also like to apply these as well with my finger as well on the eyes. They just give you so much more pigment that way. I did use this palette on my eyes today. I kind of just wanted to play around with it. I didn't really want to like film it because sometimes when I'm like just testing a palette out. I never know how the look's gonna come out, but it came out pretty good. It's kind of actually similar to my look I did with the Unicorn palette from Too Faced. It's very similar look with the blues and pinks. I love those colors together, and I was really attracted to this Ice Queen color, like this light blue. It goes on so pretty, and like this blue sparkly gorgeous color, which is totally like a 90s shade. But I will say that they blend out and kind of lose their shimmer a little bit more. They're not as foiled as some other shadows that I've tried from them, but it still gave me a really pretty look. But I did have to kind of layer on that product because it kind of blended away. And then I did use Reality Star is the hot pink I used on this middle part. That one was really nice, especially with my finger. It just looked awesome. And I did use the 3 mattes in this palette. I really like these colors, and they come out with some really pretty looks. I used Gretchen. I also used Gigi for my crease. This is a really nice just pink crease color. You could use it with these fun purples and pinks in the palette. And then I used I Can't Even with a little bit of, I think I used this Ooh and Ah black shade a little bit mixed in there to create my outer corner. And then I've been playing with it too yesterday. I did a neutral look yesterday, which I'll probably post a picture right here if I have one, if you guys want to see that look I did on my eyes as well. But that one came out really nice too. I do feel like as the day went on, my shadows kind of just like blended together. But for that look, I used Dirtbag, Rizzo, Gretchen in the crease, and I wanted to use this NSFW shade, which I wasn't really sure what to expect from it. It's pretty, but it's a little bit crumbly, and it's not as pigmented as I would like it to be. But it did create a really pretty, just like smoky brown look, which I would totally use for every day. So you can definitely get some neutral looks with this palette and some fun colored looks. And I do think they included enough mattes to kind of go to kind of do that whole look, but I understand why they didn't include more. I do kind of wish they had one more like cooler tone gray brown color in here. I feel like that would have been a nice add-on to go with some of these like cool blues in the palette, just because I don't like Too Faced black shadows. I don't know why, but they just don't blend out very well for me, and they kind of just get patchy and they're not like pigmented enough. So unfortunately, there's like 2 black shades in here that I'm probably not going to use because I just don't love how they look. So if I could add something, I would add like a cool gray brown in this palette, and maybe also a cool crease color to go with that as well. But other than that, I feel like all the other colors kind of go together. Like I could totally mix and match with these like burgundy browns and like do something with the greens and the golds, and even the purples too. It's just the blues. I'm kind of like, what do I want to do with that? So that's why I kind of did the blue and the pink look today. I do want to mention what this palette kind of reminds me of, and if you guys have these other palettes, you might not really need this one in your collection. So the first palette, it kind of, some shades reminded me of is the Too Faced Unicorn palette. I guess it's called the Life's a Festival palette, but it's called the Unicorn palette. But these two, I just feel like they were a little bit similar just because I got a similar look with this palette. But I did want to swatch some of the shades next to each other. So I have Mystic Rain from the Life's a Festival, which kind of reminded me of the shade Zaza, or how do you say that? I don't know how to say it. I'm going to call it Zaza. So I'm going to swatch those next to each other. Of course, they are different. Zaza is on top. It's more pink, and this one has the more blue duochrome, but they kind of give off the same vibes. And I just feel like this one had some fun blues as well as this one. So that's kind of where I got like that similarity. They're not exactly the same. I do think these mattes look similar though. Let me swatch them. So this is Desert Vibes from the Too Faced Life's a Festival. And then I'm going to swatch Gretchen, that matte brown, in the Then and Now. So actually they're different. So here is Desert Vibes, and then this is Gretchen from Then and Now. So this one's a little more cool toned, which is awesome. So yeah, I don't know, just kind of reminded me that a little bit. And then I did want to mention the Chocolate Gold palette just because I saw a couple similarities. I feel like these chunky glitters reminded me of the chunky colors in this gold palette. Although I do think the ones in the Then and Now are a little bit more chunkier, I do want to swatch some next to each other that just kind of look similar. It kind of just gives off the same vibes. Like in here I have like this green, I see gold, I see pink, I see purples, and I have that in this one too. So let me swatch some next to each other. This first shade I'm going to swatch is called Moneybags from the gold. That one's on top, and then on the bottom this one is Lost Boys from the Then and Now. So a bit different. The Then and Now is just a little bit deeper. It kind of almost has like a weird bluish brown undertone to it. And then I swatched from the Chocolate Gold palette. This is actually called Chocolate Gold on top, and that one's like a really true gold, next to a Twinkie from the Then and Now palette, and also Glitter Donut on the bottom. So a little bit different, a little similarities. And then lastly, I do want to compare. This one is New Money from the Chocolate Gold, just like hot pink, and compared to Reality Star. Reality Star seems a little bit more vibrant, but I feel like they might look similar once you put them on the lid. So I just wanted to show you guys a few similarities within those palettes. I feel like if you have one, you might not really need the other. So I hope that little shade comparison was a little bit helpful to you guys if you guys have a lot of Too Faced palettes like I do in your collection. So to wrap up this video a little bit and give you guys my overall final thoughts, would I recommend this palette? Would I skip it? I would say I'm kind of in the middle on this one. There's definitely some pros and cons to the palette. I would say the packaging I would consider a con just because it is so bulky and huge, but I understand it's like a collector's kind of palette, so maybe someone would like display this or something, but for practical everyday use, I don't really love this bulky packaging. Second of all, I do feel like the formulas of their eyeshadows are pretty on par with their other Too Faced palettes, which is a good thing, although I did have some issues with blending and a little bit of patchiness that took me a little bit longer to do my looks. With most palettes I can just like zip through them and they look good, but some of these I just really had to build up to get that pigmentation, and then sometimes when I blended it too much it would like blend the shadow away, so I wasn't like a huge fan of that, but overall I still got two really great looks out of it so far. And also, there is some really fun colors in this palette, but there is some similarities between the other palettes that I've shown you, so you might not really need both, since Too Faced does do a lot of these similar colors in their palettes, but there is a pretty large variety in here. I like that you can get a natural look and a more colorful one, but I'm definitely a more neutral girl, so I'm going to really try and pull for it, but I feel like this could be something that just gets lost in the back of my makeup collection and then I forget about it like a month later, to be honest. And it is really pricey. It's $60. I feel like most of their other palettes are around $50, $49. So this one's like $10 more, but I guess you're paying for like the packaging. But I don't really think it's worth the extra $10 in my opinion. I would rather just get like one of their chocolate bar palettes or like their chocolate gold palette. I really like the chocolate gold a lot better than their Then and Now palette, but I do think this is a really fun idea to kind of compare their old shades and then make new ones out of it. And of course the 90s are like such a trend right now. It's kind of fun to just like experiment with these colors. So I'm kind of in between on this one. It's just going to depend on your personal preference whether you would purchase it or if you would skip it. But for me personally, I don't think it's going to be something I'm in love with as much as some of my other Too Faced palettes, and something I'm not going to use like a ton. So I'm definitely going to be trying this out a bit more. I'll probably post some different photos on Instagram, some different looks, and show you guys what I'm doing for looks with this palette. But let me know down below what you guys thought of it, and any comments or questions that you guys have, and if you guys are going to be picking up this palette, let me know. But that's going to be it for my review today. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will talk to you guys in my next one. Bye guys.